player of the match in the final to boot. I'll let you celebrate with the rest of the side. What a fantastic achievement. What a final. Another gold medal on the board for Australia. They've got one more chance in the final game of the Touch Rugby World Cup 2024 here in Nottingham in the Men's Open, when New Zealand take on Australia. James Preston to take you through to the final, which will be live in about 10 minutes time here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your 10-minute warning. It's nearly time for the final of the week. The Men's Open final between Australia and New Zealand. Teams will be out in just a minute's time here in the time. A massive thank you to our hosts, the University of Nottingham, and Nottingham. Please be outstanding for the national anthem. We're going to do that off New Zealand.
Well, the stage is set here in Nottingham. The big dance, the Men's Open World Cup final. Australia taking on New Zealand. The Emus looking to defend their title from Malaysia in 2019. 9 straight world title championships dating back to 1988. It seems like an insurmountable task, but if there is one nation that can do it, it is New Zealand. Good afternoon from Nottingham. James Preston and England under-18s coach Joe Wright to bring you all the action. What an occasion, Joe. 10,000 fans packed into Highfields Sports Complex.
And where else would you rather be on a Sunday afternoon than finals footy? It's the pinnacle of touch rugby in the world. And as you rightly say, if any nation is going to knock Australia off the top block, it's going to be New Zealand.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the two campaigns of these two sides. Undefeated up until this point in time for New Zealand. Their attack has been unreal. 146 tries in the group stages alone, conceding just 24. Australia played one less match with a forfeit from Papua New Guinea, but still so clinical in their approach. 116 tries, conceding just 11. That's the big question here. Can the attack of New Zealand overcome the brick wall of defence for the Emus?
And it really is a case of sword v shield. We've seen the Australian defence, the spacing is just sublime. But we had the pleasure of calling the New Zealand game earlier against Lebanon, and they were electric. And we sort of said that it might have been that marker that was laid down of this is what we can do in attack. We know what Australia are all about. We've seen how put together this side is on both sides of the ball. For me, the question is, can this New Zealand attack unlock the defence?
That is the big question indeed. Rahul Das, the coach of the Touch Blacks, he would have been doing his homework all week, studying every single movement of the Australian defensive line, and with ball in hand, here come the Aussies now through their tunnel. It's a big one here for the Emus. Only 4 players returning from the 2019 victorious team. That's Sean Francis. He's got 32 tries so far this tournament, including 17 in one game, an all-time record in the Men's Open. Pete Norman, the ever-reliable Queensland captain. Jordan Marshall-King, who may or may not play. He's had quite a few injuries in this tournament. And of course, the big one, the greatest of all time, the GOAT, Dylan Hennessy, the captain of the Emus.
And that, for me, is the area in which New Zealand are going to have to come up with some answers on the fly. How do you stop Dylan Hennessy? Because if you can, and you can limit him, you will stand a chance.
For New Zealand, slightly more returning from their 2019 campaign. 6 players: Roy Graham, Matt Sinclair, Sean Law, Legan Hotham, Awa Morris, and Rayhana Finch. Now, Rayhana Finch as well can't stop scoring here. 28 tries for him, but the number 1 try scorer in this Men's Open competition so far, Trey Poihipi, 34 tries, an unbelievable tally. And New Zealand, they love hitting the fringes early.
Yeah, they do, and we saw that against Lebanon. They conditioned both options, the passive link and the long ball to the wing. For me, that's where the answers are going to lie in the attack.
We're going to find out all the answers right now. All the talk is stopped. It's time for action. Here we go. The Touch Blacks will tap us off, running from right to left. It's the World Cup final. The gold medal is on the line. New Zealand charging forward early here. Willison waiting at acting half, brings it out to the left here for Graham. Back to Willison. Oh, early nerves here for New Zealand.
Yeah, and it looked like they tried to find that link early without the use of the touch, which is rather interesting, seeing as all their good work comes off the back of a really dynamic strike dump. So maybe holding some tricks up their sleeve for the final.
Oh, look at the meters here, though, from Australia already into their groove as Russell gets involved. Drops it down. Hennessy, the one-handed scoop, looking dangerous. Change of angle. Aussies building nicely. Kenny trying to pop it back on the inside. It was played at from Poihipi.
Yeah, Australia already testing that outside edge. New Zealand scramble.
Hennessy now slowing it down for the Aussies. Russell with a little bit of space already. Hennessy once more. Oh, steps on a dime once more. Such sharp footwork from Dylan Hennessy. Griffin back to the 7 now. They'll pop up a little pass here for Russell. Hennessy, short ball, Griffin, bombing long. Chance here for the Aussies. Oh, did Boy Hippie make the touch? Yes, he did. He saves the bacon of the Touch Blacks. Hennessy now, dropping it off here. Another chance for Hennessy. Once more going long. Oh, it doesn't get any better than that. Hang on a minute. Yes, it does. The touch was even better.
And on both wings now, 2 try-savers. The ball's adjudged to go forward in flight, but we're not too fussed. The defensive prowess of the New Zealand wingers shutting out Australia early, and we ask, can they lock out Dylan Hennessy? Well, first time of asking, they've succeeded.
They passed that early test here, New Zealand, up over halfway. All heavy contact from Boy Hippie on Bob. Quick roll ball too. Now New Zealand off the back of it. Sinclair opens up the space. Here's a chance. Here's a chance. Have they got there? Davies trying to squeeze through. Again, the Aussies close the gap.
Yeah, and this is a case of 2 attacks operating at their ferocious best, met by what is a last-minute scramble defence. With 2 minutes in, we're in for an absolute classic of a final.
Oh, the pace is already insane from both teams here as now a short pass is provided. Norman turns it here for Cridlin. Back for Norman. Marshall King is good to go. Here he is with ball in hand. The big dummy fools them all. Oh, Marshall King just caught in the end. That was good for the Aussies. Nearly worked for them, but just New Zealand hanging on.
Yeah, and what a boon that is for Australia to have Marshall King. We're not sure if he'll be at 100%, but you take him at 50. He's that good.
He's a stalwart here. Back-to-back campaigns for the Men's Open in the World Cup as now Durban Burgess sends it out wide. Oh, good speed here from Edwards. Tracked him down easily.
Yeah, and it seems like New Zealand, off the back of their transition, are trying to condense the Australian defence on the left edge and then whip it open to that passive link. So far, Australia are making the read.
Marshall King just shy of the half. All very flat ball there for Griffin. Picked up again. Jardel Bob under all sorts of pressure. That stops the momentum. They'll simply float it out here from Benbow. That's a great defensive set from New Zealand.
Yeah, and that will really give New Zealand the boost that they need. And at the moment, it's a battle of the 2 transitions. Neither team really finding their feet in the final third. New Zealand, though, great yards up the box.
Urban Burgess now. Little pass popped down of acting half from I4 Jones. Here he is again getting involved. On now to Hotham. Hotham popping a little pass here for Jones. Oh, footwork from Jones! The opening try of the World Cup final goes the way of New Zealand. I4 Jones, the hot stepper.
And look at this shape for the long ball. I4 Jones take a bow. See him wrapping round. Receives the ball in open space off the sweeper. Left foot step. Boom. See you later. The long and strong dive underneath, and I4 Jones, you couldn't ask for a better opener.
It's taken 4 minutes, but New Zealand have the first. It was very tight the last time these two sides met in a World Cup final. Back in 2019, 4-3 the final score, so points may well be at a premium. Back here to Russell. Big dummy and then backtracking to the 7. Russell again having a look at them, turns it back on the inside. The old punish play there. But they didn't punish them enough. It was very close though.
Yeah, really close. Good scramble defence again, and this is fit. But don't count Australia out. They can do something from nothing.
Moffat out here for Bob. Bob's got great footwork, but not good enough to beat them back on the inside. So New Zealand working away now.
Yeah, New Zealand, their defensive spacing on the outside edges have been superb, and they're going to have to be, because Australia, that's where they want to go through. New Zealand won't mind any scores going outside the wing, but between that wing link, they've got to be tight.
Davids, good meters here, and now on the follow-up is Morris. Last one here, Sinclair looking dangerous. Pops a pass, great read though from Sean Francis. He scored 32, but that might be the most important one he saved this tournament.
Definitely, you do not want to go 2 tries down early in a World Cup final. A really good line cut off the ball by the New Zealand link, matched by a brilliant defensive read, but we saw this against Lebanon. New Zealand condition the link and then miss him completely to the wing.
So 5 minutes down, and this already has the makings of a World Cup classic. Hennessy picks it up. Little pass here. Cridlin all popping a ball. Boy Hippie had a chance to make a play at it. Instead, opted for the touch. There's the turnover anyway.
Yeah, it's a safe play on that far wing. Not trying to go for the intercept, not coughing up field possession. Both teams know how important possession of the ball is. They're going to need to complete their full sets. Maybe lucky to get away with an off-the-mark call there. Half isolated. It's a better transition defence from Australia.
Hotham. Out to the middle here for Willison. Willison dropping it down on the last. Hotham picks it up and scoops. Trying to get the late release away there, but Australia with a very high pressing line. picking up pretty easily, and now the turnover here. So Hennessy marching forward. Aussies will head towards their subs box.
Yeah, and it's good midfield defence from Australia, isolating the half on 2 different occasions. And interesting to see Hennessy, he's not subbing, he wants line attack.
Well, here he is, he'll get a chance now, Hennessy. Picking up out of acting half numbers on this right-hand side. Bob tries to beat them for speed. They've done enough there, New Zealand. It's Graham who makes the touch, and that's the last. It's a changeover.
Yeah, and we said earlier in the game, New Zealand-Lebanon, it might be the single best performance we've seen from New Zealand. Well, this first 6 minutes, this is even better, and they're going to have to be perfect over the next 35.
Well, it's worth pointing out the journey for these two sides in terms of the finals. For Australia, they steamrolled both Ireland and the Cook Islands, conceding just 4 points in total and scoring 29, as New Zealand go very close here. But for New Zealand, they had a bit of a tougher test here. Lebanon have proven consistently to push teams for the entire 40 minutes. They did that against New Zealand, 13-6, so maybe they're in a bit of a better step here.
Yeah, definitely. And we said earlier, the stylistic matchup between Lebanon and New Zealand, very similar. So New Zealand have already had a single crack at it.
Russell now drops it down on the last, offside. Bob can play through as a result. Here's a chance for the Aussies. What a pass that is! Oh, Bob from around the corner. The absolute pinnacle of touch footy. And Francis has his 33rd of the tournament.
And we're all square in this final, 1-1. Bob, take a bow. Way just cuts the line, little show and go, gets into the dead ball area, and then almost hopeful but trusting his instinct that the sporting player would be there.
So we're all locked up here in the World Cup final. 1 try apiece, only 1 team going home with that trophy. Can New Zealand lift it for the first time in 36 years? It's been a very long wait. Sinclair back to the middle now. Hutchison will slow it down here for New Zealand. Up they come to meet him. Nice little release there, very late in the piece. Sinclair then headed out towards that right-hand side. Popping it back to the middle now for Hutchison. Sinclair. Hutchison once more. Slowing things up here, New Zealand. And the Aussies not stepping up quickly enough.
Yeah, really good play. New Zealand recognised they only really had 1 to play with, so trying to buy that dropping off early penalty, and they do.
Sinclair once more back here to Hutchison. Touch is made from Cridlin. Last one here for New Zealand with a static start. High line once more from the Aussies. A little wraparound comes. Hutchison nowhere to go. There's the touch made. Well, they indicated last, but now they've got another one here for New Zealand.
Yeah, there was a repeat set as we see an open side quickie. Step back, it's gorgeous.
Sinclair sends it long point. Hippie looking for a try. I think Francis gets there. Great touch. Made out wide from the Aussies.
We've seen some brilliant defensive touches down the wing, and I've got a feeling there'll be plenty more in this game. Not even 10 minutes in.
Sinclair drops it down. Now it's the last here for New Zealand. Pass it out the back, the tip on. Everybody had a hand on their mouth there. There was gasps all around the grounds.
It's one of those, and we said to beat this Australia side, you've got to be perfect. You can't let opportunities go begging. Yes, that's only, that's a 1 in 10 ball, but this is the game to take that chance, and it almost pays for New Zealand.
Well, there are no tomorrows. It's either now or never, as Benbow leaves that one behind. Approaching the quarter-way mark of this match, probably have to say New Zealand maybe slightly in front.
Yeah, definitely. I think in terms of their field position and their defensive press, just slightly on top. And as you were saying, what it would mean for this New Zealand team to finally take the win, for me, it's now or never. This team has the skills to do it. Can they piece together the performance?
Well, they nearly did it in the Trans-Tasman series as well. 2 games to 1 in the end. Australia winning, but every one of them were very close, and now it's dropped down here on the last. Chance once more for I4 Jones. Runs out of real estate, he'll turn it over, and just over 10 minutes gone here. We're locked up at 1 try apiece.
Yeah, and I think this is about an apt scoreline, as you'll hope to see, as Australia just throw the bomb to the wing, no one marking. Good meters made off first, and a penalty for foot in the ruck. So Australia defend the set and then go and draw the penalty. Great field position.
Easy meters here up towards halfway. Edwards rolls forward. Russell, little show of the ball. Now Hennessy back on deck, so too is Jamin Bob. Couple of weapons out there for Australia. Russell waiting at acting half, scoops it up. Hennessy in support. They cut him out, went back there to Bob. Hennessy was the man to hit though. Drops down now. Hennessy on the last hitting link. All the tap on was on there for Edwards. Just didn't get it quite flush.
Yeah, and I completely agree with your observation. Hennessy, he'd run that lovely disguise line up the middle. Not chosen though. We'll see if that's by design or if it's just a lapse of communication. New Zealand once again defend the line attack relatively comfortably.
Up to make the touch there was Courtney. Now into enemy territory comes Davids, who was superb in the semi-final against Lebanon. But we'll come back here for an infraction from New Zealand.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see what the call is. Yeah. 7 on, so logistical error in the sub-move. That's a collector's item from New Zealand.
Hennessy now sends it back to the middle. Marshall King out there once more. Picked up here from Bob. Oh, Marshall King wasn't expecting it. Now rolled down here. Sloan from Norman. Once more. Norman just dropping the pace a little bit. Preparing for the next raid here. Now they'll pick up the tempo again, Australia. Oh, Hennessy over the top. Pop back in on the inside. Absolute class from the Emus to get their second and take the lead here in Nottingham for the World Cup final.
Yeah, and if you're new to touch, you might be thinking, what a heads-up play. We designed those wing tap backs as coaches, and you'll see Dylan Hennessy almost puts it in the perfect area for the netball pass on the inside, and it's a beauty.
The try time for Justin Cridlin. He's scored 7th of the tournament now as they bring it forward here. Oh, another chance for New Zealand. And once more, I4 Jones pulls down the pants of the Aussies.
Yeah, I4 Jones with the hot step. Once again, they can't deal with him in line attack, and what a start. We'll see once again, off the back of the sweeper setup, right foot step, long and strong dive in between the two Australian middles, and we've not seen that so far in that middle channel for Australia.
They are really throwing down the gauntlet here to the Emus. 2 tries apiece, 7 from the break here. Jardel Bob brings it forward. Almost impossible to separate these two at the moment. Now Griffin looking to link up with Bob once more, but Bob was already off towards the subs box.
Yeah, and it was Davids again. I complimented his defensive line speed in the game against Lebanon, and he's just flying up out the line, reckless abandon, getting in the passing lane. There's a penalty for dropping early though. So Australia with a repeat set of 6, and lo and behold, who's on the field? Dylan Hennessy.
And joining him as well is Jamin Bob now, who hops in and acting half. Oh, Russell just goes straight at them. Very close to squeezing through. To Urban Burgess though. Makes the touch, and back to the 7 go the Emus. Russell bouncing around. Picked up here from Bob. Short press here for the run of Russell. Turned away. Bob still with it though. Geez, a high line here from New Zealand. They are not letting off the pressure. But unfortunately they've been pinged here.
Yeah, and that's the second penalty in this possession for Australia. One more, and a New Zealand player goes to the bin for the rest of the possession. And that's not what you want to see from an All Black perspective. Number 6, Dylan Hennessy on the ball. It's danger.
He is pulling all the strings here, hopping in out of acting half. Griffin will go at them from range. Griffin with a great slide and dive. Gets a 3rd here for the Emus.
Well, Griffin by name, Griffin by nature, that dive is mythical. As you watch him go over, it's this lovely disguise play, and it's like they double up on Hennessy and they forget about the big man chucking up through the middle, and what a dive. If you want to learn how to get underneath a covering defender, there's your textbook example.
Outstanding there from Griffin, and now New Zealand behind once again here. They scored first, but the Aussies, they've now finally found the right setting. As out it comes here on this left-hand side, too much speed. Moffat's going to claim the touch here. Referees will agree. A 3-2 the score. New Zealand still with a few plays in this set. Sinclair shifts it early. Drop down. Now the last here for the Kiwis. Oh, into the hands of Moffat. Moffat's off for the prize. He won't have the wheels though. Now come back here. So it'll be a penalty to New Zealand.
Yeah, I believe it's in the ruck infringement. So look, forward pass given is the signal. Unsure about that one. I believe for me it was an early release off the line. That's at least my perception of that. And here we go, I4 Jones, here we go.
He's the one to watch. Already 2 tries here for New Zealand. And on both occasions, really just solo efforts. As now, once more, Sinclair goes to Jones, and again he gets very low. Someone put the limbo stick out there. That's what he needs to try and stop him. Back to the 7 they come. Jones at first receiver. Bangs it back here to Sinclair. Picked up from Davids. Jones again threatening. Oh, Jones going to the line. Is it through? New target. It's a World Cup final hat-trick for I4 Jones. We just keep weaseling his way under the defence.
Oh, this footwork is absolutely disgusting. You'll see the little show and go in a moment, but watch the little stutter step. But oh, see you later. Breaking ankles, I4 Jones. 3 tries in a World Cup final. Not many players can say that.
Well, if Disney on Ice needs another person to get involved, no one can slide better than I4 Jones. And now Hennessy pops a little pass here for Russell. They'll stop on the 7 though, the Aussies. What a cracker this one is. Back to Russell here. Marshall King's out there now. Quick release, Hennessy, footwork, Hennessy, footwork. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy.
And it seems like Dylan Hennessy looked at I4 Jones and went, anything you can do, I can do better. As he, on the wraparound play once again, it's a similar setup in the open space. Here we go, left foot step. No telegraph in the step at all underneath the New Zealand middles. And Australia, 4-3.
Hard to believe that's just Hennessy's 8th try of the tournament. He's probably laid on a good 50 though. As now New Zealand find themselves down once again, but a quick release on this left-hand side. Moffat, such a quick customer, shuts it down. Also hard to believe it's only 2 minutes until the break. Draw and pass here. Oh, a little bat on there and just reeled back in. Passing away right at the line, very deep there, but Hotham, it goes behind him on the last. And it looks like Australia will likely take a lead into the break.
Yeah, barring any sort of midfield error and a force of turnover, 2 minutes to go. New Zealand need to get the defensive nudge on, because this transition from Australia is dangerous.
Great speed here on Norman. What about the pickup now? The footwork as well. Tapped over the top, still alive here for Australia. Francis, nowhere to go. He's shown the sideline, and there is the turnover. So probably one more chance here for New Zealand to strike back before the break.
Yeah, New Zealand needs to get around the midfield press on first touch for me in the transition. They're not making as many meters as Australia, but they do inject some pace coming into the box, into the red zone.
Good meters here from Davids. Last one picked up, or Sinclair squeezes through who he believed to be 2 offside markers in the form of Norman and Cridlin. Not called that way, and I think he might have had a case there.
Yeah, for me, if they were on, they were only just onside. Really thought that was a good transition, and again, New Zealand having to scoop from so deep, such as the defensive pressure, but they'll have another crack at the line.
One final chance here in the first half for New Zealand, and you guessed it, I4 Jones sent back out there. Already a hat-trick in this final. Can he make it 4 before half-time? Davids brings it forward, 10 away. Concerted approach here for New Zealand. Drop down, Jones again, threatening the line. They're on their best behaviour here. The Emus defence. He's got them worried, Jones. Back it comes to him. D'Urban Burgess dropping it down. Last one here. Jones linking up, quick hands. This time the Aussies had the measure. Really good read from Edwards, stepping in from link.
Yeah, and a brilliantly timed release off the line. Had to be as well, because you, as we've seen, when you give I4 Jones time and space, he will punish you.
So up over halfway now, final 10 seconds of this half. There might be enough for one final chance here for Australia. That one is collateral damage off a shoulder there of New Zealand. But what a first half, the applause rings out. These two sides are throwing everything at each other, including the kitchen sink, including the plumbing. 4-3, Australia leading.
And what more could you ask for from a men's open final at a World Cup? Both teams going tooth and nail at each other, and an individual first half performance for the ages from I4 Jones, really laying down the marker for this New Zealand side, saying no, we are not going down without a fight. We're going to run the best in the world to their very end.
Well, this one is going to go down to the wire at the break here. The 9 times world champions have the same score that got them the victory back in 2019 in Malaysia. It's 4-3, but it is anyone's game in the second 20. And let's head downstairs to Adam Collins, who's got New Zealand coach Rahul Das with him.
Like the skills they have, the speed and the vision is just so awesome.
So now when we talk about World Cups, this is the 10th edition of World Cups. You've been to every one of them, I've been to 8. How amazing has it been here in Nottingham over this 7 days?
It's been fantastic. England Touch has put on an awesome job. The weather's been fantastic. 39 countries from all over the world. I mean, it's obvious that Australia and New Zealand are still up in front by looking at all the finals, but it's great to see all the minnow countries here enjoying themselves and learning about the game.
In the bronze medal matches, there's been a bit of a shift there. England taking home a few, South Africa, Japan, Cook Islands, a nation on the rise, and also Lebanon in the men's opens.
Yeah, and a lot of these kids, we played Philippines in our semi-final, and these are young kids, most of them under 20, and so it's really exciting that everyone's getting better and improving, all the minnows.
And the fan village, I've seen you down there amongst all the people stopping, taking photos and missed the touch. What about the vibe down there? Has that been part of what's brought this whole World Cup together?
Yeah, of course, and that in itself, having a fan village and that, and the big screen, and even on the field, you're playing people and they're speaking different languages, and it's just so good for our sport.
We've got the Red Army behind me, the volunteers. There's over 250 volunteers in the tournament.
Australia, this might be the most we've seen them work for a lead.
New Zealand have not stopped coming at them. We talked about it being a battle of the sword and the shield. So far, both teams, though, attacking with the shield, defending with the sword, if you will.
Yeah, and it's one of those attacks, the best form of defence. You just go down and get another score. And Australia, though, with the tap in this second half, will look to get the early one.
So back underway here for the second half of the culmination of a brilliant 2024 World Cup, the Men's Open final, and anyone's to win. Australia leading 4-3. Cridlin out of acting half. Griffin back to Cridlin, plays it inside the 7. All was building nicely there for the Emus. They'll get another set.
Yeah, it's a penalty in the roll ball for New Zealand. Just walking that tightrope, dabbling.
Hennessy turns it back on the inside here. Cridlin back to Hennessy. Oh, the footwork stepping as he caught it. So elusive, Dylan Hennessy. Back to the 7 metre mark they'll go now. Griffin, Hennessy, caught here. Good pressure from D'Urban Burgess. Now once more, the Aussies looking to set up for the strike dump. Cridlin crabbing across field. Short release here for Hennessy. Passive out the back. Meters for the Aussies. Too easy. It's the old firm back together again. Dylan Hennessy combining with Pete Norman.
Yeah, Norman, the beneficiary of Dylan Hennessy, taking the ball flat to the line. Late release on the rat, engaging New Zealand defenders. And we'll watch it through on the replay. Hennessy checks off, and then that beautiful J line at the base of the touch. And it's just a lovely show and go, and the pace is too much, although New Zealand straight back down the other end.
And you can't turn away for a second here. New Zealand can go the length of the field in a flash. It's now I4 Jones again, looking for another try. That's the best one yet. Bang off the right foot, collapsing off the left. It's a 4 in a World Cup final. We talk about having the hot touch. This man is a volcano right now.
This is outrageous, and you will not be able to find anyone in world rugby who can do this to this Australian defence. The step in and out, I4 Jones. 4 scores for New Zealand, 4 scores for I4 Jones.
Wash your eyes out. That's absolute filth there from I4 Jones as they take it out to this right-hand side, and now back to the left. Marshall King, Hennessy, Marshall King. Oh, the flick pass from Bob, and got there as well. James Courtney gets it down. Well, we thought we'd seen the try of the tournament before from Australia. I take it back. That's the best you'll see.
And it's so nonchalant, out the back, didn't even look. Gives the ball on instinct, such is the skills. Oh, it's just sublime over in the corner. And Australia go, yep, New Zealand, I see your score, we raise you a better one.
James Courtney, great finish as well. Take nothing away from the flick pass for Bob, but there was not much space to work with there as Jones. Can he respond again? Back it comes here for New Zealand. Graham drops it down. I4 Jones doesn't get that strike dump that he was after. Once more, the step comes out. This time Australia have his measure. I think next score is crucial though.
Yeah, it's definitely crucial. New Zealand need it. And I4 Jones, I love this from I4 Jones, just subs himself off. I'm not needed in defence. I'm the bagsman. I'm the person who's going to haunt this Australian defence. He's going to be ready to come back on in the attacking set.
Now here for Edwards, floating a pass over for Moffat, who takes off. Cridland was looking to hop in there at acting half, but didn't get there in time. Kenny popped it instead. Last one now here for Edwards again. Lovely ball. Oh, the dummy comes in from Moffat. He could sell ice to an Eskimo with that one. And there's a 7th on the board here for the Emus. They're now starting to flex their muscle.
Yeah, this double pump does all of the work for Australia. We'll see it, the Roman cam, great angle. Hit 1, nope, see you later. 2, beautiful link passive, and this is what we've come to expect from Australia, taking the ball round the outside, fixing defenders, finding holes. New Zealand, you've got to tighten up defensively.
So turn back to the middle here for D'Urban Burgess. Good footwork now. Oh, just delaying a pass at the line. Outstanding delivery from Tiwi Davies. 7-5 now. New Zealand strike back with a cracker.
Yeah, and we talk about the double pump fixing defenders. Well, how about the entire defensive line freezing? And we'll see it here. 1, 2, there we go. Dropped off into space, almost just hits him in his chest and says, ground that for me.
Well, Russell had no idea what was going on in the end. D'Urban Burgess getting the try. There's now Hennessy. The Emus still up 7-5. Just navigating this 7-metre line at the moment. Rolled down, bit of a sloppy one there from Bob Hennessy, looking for the sinker pass over the top. Another set to work with here, and based on the footy IQ of Hennessy, I feel he knew exactly what was coming if that didn't go to hands.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those, knew he had a free play, knew he had the 6 touches in the back pocket, so throws the spectacle long ball, but New Zealand need to defend this.
Once more, Marshall King, quick release, Francis on the spot. Ooh, and New Zealand, they survive here. Boy, Hippie's got a bit of an issue too off the back of it. Yeah, it would have been a very, very close call, this one.
Yeah, and this is not what you want for Poirier, Pete. He's been electric on the wing, not only in attack, but also in defence. He saved 3 surefire scores. But New Zealand benefiting from the forward pass. As soon as they give away the penalty, they retain one, and they've got to secure the ball.
Turner now, pops it forward, Davids. They continue on with the drive here, New Zealand. Good meters on offer. Quick roll ball too here from Savage. Now really flexing here, New Zealand. Picked up, Willison sends long. He's got that one well and truly wrong though.
Yeah, for me, that play sort of reeked of someone who just wanted to get rid of that ball and didn't really, want to take the risk on the far side, wants to make Australia work and go full length. And they will. New Zealand look to put the defensive press on. They forced errors from Australia in this area of the pitch. They'll look to emulate that.
Up over halfway now come the Aussies. Great pace about things once more. They wanted the extra set, but they won't get it. This is now the last here for the Emus. Picked up from Norman. Cut out here. Moffat was close. Went to the link instead. Nowhere to go.
Yeah, it's a good idea to go to the passive link once more. Doesn't quite happen for them, and it's unfortunate because the option was there. That's a roll ball infringement from, ooh, that could have gone the other way on another day. Flip the coin, see which way it lands up. This time, New Zealand.
So a good position here for New Zealand to start this set. Moving forward now is Morris. Wrapping around once again on this left-hand side. I4 Jones back on deck here as they approach that 7. Sinclair rolls it back. Aussies stopping the momentum so far though. Now it picks up again. Here's Jones. Static start here on the last, so it's been a great defensive set thus far from Australia. In fact, you can make it overall an outstanding piece of defence there from the Emus.
Yeah, it's brilliant defensive work, able to nullify I4 Jones. That's not something we've said so far in this final. But for me, the read was on that far wing. It's a couple times the Australian defence have collapsed inwards. New Zealand need to find it.
Edwards, and now a short ball here. Jamin Bob stepping off the left. Last one here. Russell takes it to the line. Russell squeezing through. A try goes begging for Australia. This time Courtney puts it down. 7-5 the score remains.
Yeah, and there's been a couple times now where Australia have had the opportunity to go and get the third try, go and extend your lead out to 3. They haven't. And I tell you what, if New Zealand come back firing, they will regret these missed opportunities. As New Zealand look to play around the midfield press, maybe get away with an off-the-mark penalty. New Zealand riding their luck. Oh, great yards made up the middle, in behind the mid.
Well, if there's one team that can roll you quickly, it is New Zealand. And once more, they are marching upfield here. An opportunity for Davies to set it up. Finds a great ball. Davids stops on a run. He probably should have kept going, though. Oh, Turner is collected from Marshall King. And Marshall King couldn't disappear, but I feel he's going to be quite lucky to get away with that one.
Yeah, definitely. We spoke about New Zealand right in there. Look, well, Marshall King, that's about as close to a penalty for a hard touch as you could possibly get.
Let me tell you now, the shoulder must be all right. It's still fine for Marshall King. He's had a few issues in the tournament with it.
Ooh, penalty for chat from New Zealand. So not happy with that decision and compounding the error and giving away a penalty on halfway.
You've just got to go one play at a time here for New Zealand, but they couldn't get it out of their minds as now Benbow brings it forward. Little pass here from Jardel Bob. Benbow, fancy footwork. Bob for Griffin. Griffin bombing long. Chance for Courtney. Hennessy's there on the spot. Arrives now for Hennessy. Drops it down. Jardel Bob once more. Hennessy scheming, sending it long. Kenny back on the inside. Absolute clockwork. Clinical precision from the Aussies. And Ben Bow, or maybe it should be Ben Bow because he needs to take one.
Oh, it's beautiful. Once again, Dylan Hennessy taking the ball flat to the line, hard to the line, fixing New Zealand defenders so they can't go and chase early. There was 3 mini pumps in there and a beautiful tap back. We've seen that once already. There's the repeat.
Well, it's now getting to the point with about 10 minutes remaining that New Zealand need to be next to score. The margin's out to 3 now. This will help the cause.
Yeah, good penalty, dropping early. Australia really trying to release defensively so they can fly up off the line. Just getting it wrong on that occasion.
A fresh set to work with here, 7 away. Short little ball here for Willison. Willison slowing it down, wrapping around is Davies. Davies, popped a little pass back on the inside. Graham thought about delivering. Edwards was up in the passing lane though, so in the end a good hold. It's now Davies once more, recycling. Back out to that left-hand side. Australia gaining ground here in defence.
Yeah, and it's just a little bit sloppy at the moment. It's too slow from New Zealand. You've got to find some pace. Unfortunately, it's not quite happening.
Davies out for Hotham now. Hotham turns it back on the inside. Going nowhere fast here, New Zealand. Once more a strong touch coming out. Now a little pass is popped on. Nearly the circus trick to get across the line there for Morris. But Australia, so much pressure defensively, they just keep stepping up.
Yeah, definitely, and walking the line of the hard touch really well at the moment. There's been 2 now, which on another day, again, flip the coin. Past 2 have come aboard New Zealand. Oh, and the referee just waves him off the ground. We want some physicality, and it's applauded from the refs.
I'll tell you what, these referees have watched the Origin earlier this week. They've seen all the contact. They want a bit more here for touch footy. Up now, it comes towards the halfway line. Popping a pass. Russell. Back here for Bob. Great scoop from Griffin. The footwork as well. So good, he tripped himself over. Now out for Hennessy. Stepping off the right foot. Bouncing like a kangaroo. Trying to find an opening. New Zealand hold firm.
Yeah, beautiful open field play. Little wraparound. Lovely bit of disguise on the Australian line attack. And at the moment, Australia, they're playing with bags of confidence. New Zealand don't have the answers.
Well, their roll has really slowed as well here, New Zealand. Before, they were just marching downfield, but Australia, with their tails up, keeping a very high line. D'Urban Burgess now tries to mix it up a little bit. Sends it back to the middle here. Slowed down for Sinclair. He's got a great ball on him. Can he release it? He'll get a chance to with this following set.
Yeah, there's been a few times now where New Zealand are just hesitating to engage on the touch, making it really obvious to the refs that Australia are dropping early. They need to make it count.
Sinclair back here for Davids once more. Close to the line there with a hard touch was Bob. Sinclair about 10 metres away. Directing traffic. Drop down here from Davids. Davids from distance. Great touch coming through the middle there. I think it might have been Russell that made it.
Yeah, and it had to be a great touch because that's about a picture-perfect dive as you'd ever hope to see.
Davids now once more. Back to Sinclair. Drop down. Davids. I4 Jones. He's the one to watch. Floats a great ball over the top. What a pill that is. That kind of a pill should only be prescribed by a pharmacist, but I4 Jones says the doctor's in the house.
Oh, and this pill is just illegal. You have no right to take the ball this flat to the line and dish this off. And my only question is, why isn't he on the pitch more often? I4 Jones, the orchestrator of every single New Zealand score.
Well, at the moment, if the score stays as it is, Jones will be pressing for an MVP from a losing side here. It's dropped down now. Jardel Bob sends it out for Hennessy. Bob again. Hennessy floating long. Oh, they've nearly stripped him. Well recovered from Poi Hippie, but he's made a play at the ball. Another set to work with here for the Emus.
Yeah, he had to, because his link is hanging him out to dry. The tap back is always on. That link's got to go and cover.
Hennessy leaning into the touch there. Now slowing things down. No rush here for the go. Marshall King back to Hennessy. Look at the footwork from Hennessy. Drops a little pass here for Marshall King. Really important set coming up defensively here, New Zealand. Must hold out. Hennessy again. Floats it out the back. Oh, Bob, how about the footwork? Now, are they saying they got the touch in New Zealand? Momentarily, I thought that Savage was suggesting he didn't make it. Play on for now. Oh, Bob off the left foot. Crack out here for Marshall King. Went for the flick pass. And it's a saving touch there from Finn Barnett, who's come in 20 metres off his wing to make it.
Yeah, and once again, the scramble defence from New Zealand is just good enough to nullify the Australian line attack, but it's going to have to be 6s and 7s because Australia are electric.
Approaching the final 5 minutes here. The Aussies, one more, would just about do it against New Zealand. Marshall King, Griffin, direct, floating long. Barnett has a second try saver in quick succession.
I thought Griffin could have just gone at the line himself there. It looked like the New Zealand defence had parted.
Marshall King will bring it forward now. Pete Norman in an acting half, sends it back to Marshall King. The footwork, oh, I wasn't so sure that Davies was back on side at any point there.
It's not just the shoulder of Marshall King that's fine, the feet are fire.
Out now for Cridlin. Cridlin holding them off momentarily. Urban Burgess makes the touch. And now with 5 on the clock, New Zealand need to strike. They can get another one here. We're in for a grandstand finish.
Yeah, this pod looks leggy though. You've got to work hard to get off the ball. However, that's what New Zealand needed. Foot in the ruck penalty, fresh set of 6. They can sub without taking any more touches up the box. Best case scenario for New Zealand.
Rolling forward in good field position here. Willison and now Hotham. Back again here for Graham. Easy meters on offer momentarily, but now the Aussies start pressing up. Turned away here from Savage. Savage an option back through the middle. That's the way they go. Norman there to make the touch. Again, it comes for Willison. Willison, where's I4 Jones when you need him?
Yeah, for me, I know you've got your pods, you've got your people connections. Get I4 Jones on the field. I can't believe he's not out there in line attack for New Zealand. He's the one with the key to the Australian defence, and they're leaving him on the bench.
So meters now for the Aussies up towards the subs box. Oh, strong touch too coming in from New Zealand. They'll let that one go as well. I don't mind seeing a bit of it.
I love this level of physicality in the men's open final. You've got to be tough. You've got to be strong.
Oh, here goes Russell. Great one-handed scoop. Now threatening to go long to Francis. Francis turns it back on the inside. Now Francis is claiming a touch, but Poi Hippie, I thought he was miles away from having fingertips.
Yeah, it seemed like one of those where even if there was any contact, he's definitely not played it. You've got to put your arm out to make the touch. You can't just immaterialise in an instant. So Poi Hippie gets away with that one.
Davids plays it quickly, and now Sinclair on the march forward. Last one, now he is on deck. I4 Jones burning them with a step, pops it out wide. Davids sends it on. Poi Hippie, big footwork, back inside of Francis. Moffat is there to shut it down.
Yeah, now I'd be subbing I4 Jones off. Let's not waste any energy. Get you off defence, pal. We need you in attack, but no. They're going to look to put a bit of a defensive nudge on. If they can force a turnover in the Australian half, they have a really good opportunity to go and strike down the other end. But Australia, so direct in their transition, it's not happening.
And that'll certainly help the cause here for the Emus. They'll certainly slow things down as well. Hennessy slowly creeping back into an attacking position as they send it out to this left-hand side here for Edwards. Benbow. Now here, Jardel Bob bouncing around, drops it on the 7. Hennessy, Bob, that might do it here for the Aussies. It looks like a 10th World Cup title is heading to the land down under. The margin's out to 3, and there's only 2.5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, and it's superb, and the young boy, John L. Bob, goes over. We'll watch this again. And again, this is what we were talking about a few days ago. Dylan Hennessy has added this to his game, the facilitator for the young blood coming into this Australian side, and Bob getting over 3 tries different. It's going to take a miracle for New Zealand.
Yeah, the Bob boys very young still in this side. They've got a long career ahead of them, as now this one's sent wide. Oh, look at the smackdown there. Get this thing out of here, says Courtney.
Yeah, big touch as well. They get the turnover, and that's the defensive shot you need. 90 seconds just over on the clock, and Australia had to go as hard as anything for the lead.
Well, New Zealand have to try something here, whether it's an intercept or just something completely out of left field. Otherwise, this clock is going to beat them as much as the Emus are. Russell out now for Benbow, picked up on the last. Griffin looking for the nail in the coffin. Can't find the pass. Goes between Lincoln Wing. And now New Zealand, one final chance here potentially. The meters now on offer here for New Zealand. Popping it out to this right-hand side. And there is an offside play here for Australia. So final moments now. They'll soak up all the atmosphere. Australia, you can hear a pin drop though. There was a huge contingency of New Zealand support. They know the result is now beyond doubt. Australia will claim their 10th straight World Cup.
Yeah, and good value for it, but New Zealand, I mean, take a bow. The individual performance from Ifor Jones has single-handedly dragged you into this position, and the whole team has complemented him beautifully, and there is zero shame in losing to what is the best team on the planet.
Sinclair, though, draws the foul. Been a great team performance from Australia, though. That's the big thing. It's hard to stand out when everybody is rising to the occasion. As now Sinclair brings it forward for Davids. Pops up here from Sinclair, and unfortunately that sums it up for New Zealand. Australia will walk it into the defensive line. They've claimed gold. It's a 10th straight World Cup title, and the celebrations begin down under. 4 returning crew from Malaysia in 2019. Francis, Norman, Marshall King and Hennessy celebrate once more, but for a new crop, a new clan. They have laid down the gauntlet and the challenge for the rest of the world. 4 more years of supremacy for Australia.
Yeah, and well deserved. And for me, when I'm looking at this Australian team, it almost feels a little bit like the passing of the torch. Out with the old guard, in with the new. Doesn't change the result though. Just as dangerous in attack, just as secure in defence, and maybe outside challenge for the best team ever in touch rugby.
It's hard to comprehend just how you break down this Australian hierarchy, the dominance across just about every grade as well. But an outstanding individual performance. Let's talk about Ifor Jones. 4 tries on the board, had a hand in another, and just every time he touched the ball looked likely.
Oh, he was just electric, and Ifor Jones, for me, probably one of the best individual performances I've ever seen in rugby, full stop. There's no caveat to that. It is superb. To be able to do what he did to the Australian defensive line, I mean, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of any other individual who's been able to make an Australian defence look, at times, out of their depth. That's how good Ifor Jones is.
And for Australia, so many contributors. Hennessy was outstanding. Both Bob boys working hard through the middle. But that is probably the key thing here for Australia. It doesn't just come down to Hennessy. It doesn't just come down to the likes of Marshall King. It's across the board. It's quality. It's that fast roll-on, the ability to pick and scoop and just continue to apply the pressure with every play.
Yeah, and for me, the unsung hero of this final, for Australia is number one, Harry Griffin. He had a hand in so much that was going on in the Australian line attack. Also, immensely solid in defence. And for me, this team has transitioned from a team of individuals to one of the best cohorts of players you would ever see. The structure, the passion, the heart, the touch IQ across the board is incomparable.
It'll be a very happy coach, Phil Guymore, for the 2019 in Malaysia. He was the assistant coach, stepping up to the top job here. It's been a long way, 5 years and 7 days as well, if you don't mind. They've played a lot of footy here in Australia, in Nottingham, but they have come away with the ultimate prize, the World Cup title for the Men's Open division. Smiles all round. There'll be one hell of a party tonight.
Yeah, and they well deserve it. For me, Australia once again just a cut above the rest, and they grew through this tournament as well. We saw them run really direct. We then saw them change their transition in areas where other teams started to stress them. We also saw them leak tries as well. Let's not forget that, yes, this defence was solid, but England put 5 against them, and they learned from that. They grew from that experience, and that is the marker of a team that is on the rise and will not stop.
It's a great point you raised there about the amount of points conceded across the entire tournament. Up until this game, we're including the final series here, 15 in total. That's almost only one a game. It's just slightly above that.
That's got to be some sort of record defensively, and the coaching staff will probably take more pride in that than the amount of tries put against them, because if you're only conceding 15 in a tournament, you could afford to only go and score 16. You're still in that net positive, and then to go and stick 3 figures of scores while only conceding 15 is just out of this world.
We're seeing as well all of the wonderful volunteers here as part of the Touch World Cup for 2024. It does take a cast of thousands, if you will. It's not just the spectators and the players that have come here. There is no game without our referees, without our administration staff behind the scenes, without the volunteers who are lined up here as well. And certainly it has been an outstanding 2024 World Cup campaign. Let's head down pitch side with Adam Collins.
So ladies and gentlemen, here we are with the MVP of the gold medal match, Aoife Jones. Aoife, I know it's not an individual sport, but mate, outstanding effort in a beaten team. Mate, please tell me about that.
Yeah, beautiful game, mate. The game of touch. And to beat the yellow and green, you got to be perfect on the day, and they're just clinical, man. They're hard to beat, and that's why they've been the best. But my team, coach, wouldn't rather do it with anyone else. I love them to pieces, and yeah.
Yeah, mate, you certainly left nothing out there. 4 tries, and you just kept going from start to finish. You talked about your team, the importance of coming together. There's blood spilled on the fields here at Nottingham. You guys never, ever give up, and that's what we love about New Zealand Touch Blacks.
Yeah, just once again, just the boys, they put probably a year of work, and yeah, I got no words really. Just
mate, I appreciate that, and I understand the emotion, but it must mean something to see your whānau here with you, outstanding, and having them by your side.
Yeah, love them, mate. Love them to bits. My 2 kids, my partner, my parents at home. Love you as well.
And shout out to all the whānau back home. I know how much it means to you guys. Mate, congratulations, and thanks for spending just a couple of seconds with us.
Cheers, man.
Congratulations, Aoife. Thank you. And that is Aoife Jones, an outstanding performer for such a long time for the Touch Blacks. What an amazing effort in a beaten team to take out the MVP award. That's pretty special. So I'll let him get back to the whānau and celebrate with all of the team as well. And just what a game. And it's an amazing final here. And we've got the presentations coming your way. And now we're going to head over, if we can, and we'll catch up with some of the commentators that have brought you all of the action here from Nottingham, Touch World Cup 2024.
Adam, thank you very much. Yes, let's just recapture some of the great moments throughout what's been an incredible campaign. If we take a look specifically at the Men's Open division, yes, Australia coming away with the World Cup in one of the best games we've probably ever seen of touch footy, but there are some real rippers along the way. The Cook Islands, I want to focus on them for a moment. Probably 2 of the best games of the tournament, 10-9 against both Japan and then also England.
Yeah, and both of those games, they were just phenomenal. And the rugby in the Cook Islands has really come on leaps and bounds, especially touch. And for me, game of the tournament was probably that game we called against Japan, where they were countless tries going begging in the first half, and then Berryman Duff just stood up to be accounted, and that could have been the individual performance of the tournament, if not for the masterclass in attack we just saw from Highfields Jones.
And yes, another victory here, of course, for Australia, but certainly it's almost a tournament of the minnows. Cook Islands rising to the occasion, but Lebanon coming from out of the clouds and claiming bronze.
Yeah, what a result for Lebanon. I had the pleasure of calling that bronze medal match over on pitch 2, and they went tooth and nail, going up by 10 tries to 8 in the end. And to do that to a Cook Islands team that is, been so expansive, they just cut through them with perceived ease. And it's not just the growth of sport in the world, it's the way that the passion has been instilled into the new blood, the new teams, the new countries that are coming through. From a touch perspective, it's, you couldn't really ask for more.
Let's head back down pitch side with Adam Collins.
Thanks very much, James, and you guys up in the commentary booth have done an outstanding amount of work for the men's Opens final. But down here pitch side, we have the rest of the voices that have been behind the cameras. The Next Gen XV crew bring you amazing pictures, but the men and women to my left and right, they're the voices that you've heard throughout the tournament. I'm going to start with Alice. Alice, thanks for all the heavy lifting you've done. How much have you enjoyed this tournament?
This tournament has been insane, and with this World Cup, such an opportunity to be here with everyone and seeing amazing players, and what a final we have had on our hands.
It must have been outstanding, representing the UK up there in the commentary booth, the Aussies and the Kiwis getting the job done, but you've done outstanding work right throughout the tournament. What's been your highlight?
Just being here with the team and, like I said, seeing amazing touch, and that's what we're all here for. This community and this wholesome sense, it's just bringing everyone together, right?
Absolutely, and thank you for all the work you've done with us. We're going to have a chat to Mel Day now. Mel, we've done a few games together as well. You've brought some colour, you've brought some excitement. What's been your highlight of this event?
Apart from getting a kiss in the commentary box by a mixed open player, no, actually, that is my highlight. No, I think for me it's been the women's age divisions. The women's 40s division was outstanding to see the lineup that we had and the quality of touch, and the women's 35s as well, some outstanding play there. So it's great to see touch develop along those lines.
Awesome. And you were fangirling over Steve Menzies earlier on in the tournament, watching him run around as an Aussie here in the UK, living and working. How exciting was it to see some of those great names of our sport here in Nottingham?
Oh, to commentate Steve Menzies was a dream come true. Hard to recognise him without his headgear, but just brilliant to see.
Awesome, Mixie, I might get you in now. Another one of our co-commentators bringing some experience. Mate, you've been there, you've done that for England, and now you've been able to represent in the commentary position. How much have you enjoyed that aspect of this tournament?
I've loved it. I've loved every moment of it. It's been a different World Cup for me, but I've loved every single moment of it. And obviously, I'm going to do a quick shout out. England Mixed Open behind me getting their bronze medal as well. It's a big honour of mine to see them do that.
And you must be super proud of the tournament, the way it's pulled together, the Red Army, the volunteers and the event staff that have pulled together and really brought this tournament home for England.
When Nottingham Touch started 12 years ago, we used to get 6 people down to training, and Nottingham Touch has done this in Nottingham. Very proud today. So yeah, really, really good for the whole community of Nottingham and greater of England Touch as well.
Awesome, mate. Thank you very much for all your colour and all of the analysis that you've brought to the pitch side, and we've enjoyed having you working with us. And I'm going to go now to one of my co-leads, one of the men that have come in and done the heavy lifting, Wilf. Mate, this is actually your first touch tournament. I'm blown away at just how good you are at this job.
Thank you so much. My first World Cup, first of many, I hope. I mean, it's been it's been an unbelievable tournament. I mean, yeah, all of our voices are a bit hoarse after all of this, but I think this is what touch is really about. I mean, it's the British team, the English team, sorry, just picking up their medal there for the mixed open, and all the volunteers around, applauding the teams as they accept their medals. I think it's just amazing to see the community that this sport has and will continue to have. It's going to grow all of the time. I think it's one of the fastest growing sports out there, and it's amazing what we've been able to pull together here. The biggest World Cup there's ever been. And, you know, you've done plenty of World Cups yourself. I mean, you can tell the difference between this tournament and the ones that have come before it. It's huge, and it's fantastic that we've been able to bring it all to you live as well.
Yeah, the 10th World Cup, I've been to 8, but this is the most impressive by far. But, mate, back to you, and you talk about the sport and the way you've come into it and done the commentary. What is the highlight, and what is, from a sport perspective, you said it's the fastest growing sport, what is it about touch that excites you and wants to keep you involved? This is the first of many I heard you shout out. We might have to talk later on. But what is it that makes you want to keep involved in this game?
I just think it's so accessible, it's so welcoming a community as well. There's such a diverse group of people playing the sport from every corner of the globe, having, you know, men and women on the field at the same time at the very top level in the mixed category. It's something that's so rarely repeated across sport. Across rugby is this kind of massive mix of sports that brings so many people together. The spirit of rugby on the whole is brought forward from touch and highlights all the best parts about it, whether it's pride in touch, whether it's nations like Oman at their first World Cup, whether it's nations like Luxembourg, which are a country of about 600,000 people, submitting teams into the men's 30s class and competing against Australia. All these stories that we've brought you across the week are what make this sport special, and I can't wait for it to continue to grow and continue to glow and shine a light on rugby as a whole and what it can create.
Yeah, well, let's hope that growth continues. And here from the England perspective, we really hope that you've enjoyed the Touch World Cup from Nottingham. We've certainly enjoyed bringing it to you. Kudos to our co-commentators still up in the booth, in James and Joe. They've done much of the heavy lifting throughout with this, the bunch of beautiful people, the diversity in the commentary team. And we hope you've enjoyed all of the coverage that we've brought for you, and we'll let you sit back now and just enjoy the rest of the games. We'll head back up to Joe and James. Thanks very much for listening and watching.
Adam, thank you very much. Thank you for the kind words as well. I certainly would have to agree with the sentiments in multiple capacities there of Wilfred. The voice is very hoarse for a start. I couldn't have found any more honey particles unless I was a bee, I'll tell you that much. It's been a tough week, but a very rewarding week, and it is all about those stories, whether it be Luxembourg, such a small nation, or potentially Jersey, Guernsey also putting in a team. Maybe some of the stories about individual players. Jason Stanton, 48 years of age in the men's open, claiming a bronze medal, not just arriving, but genuinely competing. There's just so many incredible storylines. And every single time we come together as a community for any kind of touch tournament, whether it be the NTS here in England, or whether it be the New South Wales or Queensland State Cup in Australia, there's that sense of frivolity, friendship, and just a genuine joy in the air.
Yeah, and you've hit the nail on the head there for me. Touch is a sport for everyone. There should be no limitations to sport, full stop, in any sense. And for touch, they take real pride in being so accessible. Everyone from any corner of the world can come down and play. We've been saying all week, what do you need to play touch? You need one ball in a field, that's it. Find some people you've never met before. I mean, I've made long-lasting friendships with people I never would have met outside of touch. This sport means the world to me, and to see what is one of the best spectacles of sport I've ever experienced firsthand, it just means the world. And we talk of stories and those things going on in the background. I mean, for me personally, commentating with people I grew up listening to, watching touch, watching the pinnacle of touch in New South Wales, in Queensland, and now being stood in the commentary box sharing a mic, this sport has done that. This sport has put that together. This sport is special. And the 3 games that we had to see us out, all of the, just under 1,000 games across the entire week, that's what this sport can do for people. Tens of thousands of people coming down to Riverside in Nottingham, the city of Nottingham, being so accommodating for everyone, putting things up, discount codes for food and venues, hotels, you take your pick. This sport has banded together to provide what has been one of the best weeks for many of the people, and I can say personally one of the best weeks of my life, and I owe so much to Touch Rugby.
I echo those sentiments there, Joe. This has been one of the best weeks of my life as well. I came into touch just after the last World Cup. 2020 New South Wales State Cup, that was my entry into the sport. I didn't grow up playing it, I've been an outsider looking in, but at no point have I ever been made to feel like an outsider. Everybody, from the legends of the sport, to the administrators, to the people that join me in the booth, to the players, as you're simply walking through the village or on the grounds of any touch tournament, they're happy to say hello. They greet you as one of their own. It's one of the most inclusive sports on planet Earth, and the journey for me personally to come here today into Nottingham from Australia and have the privilege to call this game alongside you, it's something I'll remember forever. And it's also about the friendships you make in the booth between yourself, Adam, Alice, Ben, everybody. The list goes on. Mel Day. We've had so many people coming in and out of the booth itself, and it's just been a wonderful, wonderful experience. And we're seeing here Bill Kerr, one of the great men involved in touch footy as well, presenting the medals here for England. But if you're not sure what you want to do, but you want to get a bit of fitness, you want to get a bit of exercise, you want to be involved in a community, this is the one.
Yeah, definitely. And also, if you've played rugby and, you know, if you're like me, you played at a decent level and then you got a bad injury, come and play touch, because it's so much more accessible. There's no limitations. It's much more than a sport. It's a community. It's also a home for people. People identify with touch because of the camaraderie. And as you say, you know, I've been rubbing shoulders with people from every corner of the globe. I've been chatting away with people from Papua New Guinea. I've been chatting with people from the Cook Islands. I never thought I'd be able to say that. Me and John Leota rubbing shoulders. Yes, I've shared the field with him for Northwest Blades. But to be sort of accepted into people's smaller communities so seamlessly, it's a real microcosm of this sport, that it's so accepting, it's so welcoming, and everyone, I mean, you've seen, I was getting choked up earlier watching the England Mixed Open. Jordan Melling, as soon as that, shout out Jordan Melling, one of the old heads in England touch, thoroughly deserves his bronze medal. As soon as that final whistle went, burst out into tears. And for me, that sums up the sport, because he's not dragged that Mixed Open side to that bronze medal for him. It's for the young people in that squad, the 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-olds. Sam Nixon, first ever international tournament in the Opens division, comes away with a bronze medal. Jordan Mellon on the floor in tears because of that achievement for someone else. That sums up touch. It's selfless. It puts itself on the line to be judged for other people to then go and take it to the next level. It sets the standard of what we expect, not just in sport, but in life itself. That selfless nature, the belief that we can do better and we will do better, extends beyond the sport of touch into the wider life of every single person involved in this World Cup.
Joe, I want to ask that question, and there's a great teaching in there that you've provided, but let's focus specifically on touch. We've seen such a wonderful display here from not just the University of Nottingham, and a huge shout out to everybody involved working here behind the scenes to accommodate thousands of people, feed them as well, ensure everything is running smoothly. But to the people at England Touch, Tim Loveridge, Chris Simon and the whole support staff there, they've done a wonderful job too. What does success look like for them for this tournament? Is it just how smoothly everything's run, or was it medals at any point?
Well, we had this conversation at the start, and for the teams, it's always medals, right? For the teams, you want to come away with medals. England Mixed Open do. Great value for it, and very proud of that team, but for ETA as a whole, this has been a success, man. You could not convince me otherwise. You could sit down with the most pessimistic bloke you've ever met in your life for 12 hours and I'd still come out of that conversation thinking, nope, you're wrong. Because smiles on everyone's faces, logistically smooth, good running, parking sorted. Parking's a nightmare in Nottingham at the best of times. To house to almost 10,000 people on finals day and it not be a nightmare is a stroke of genius. And the exposure of this sport is the success itself. Getting it out there. I've had people come down who I know who've never even seen this sport before, and they've gone away going, oh, where's my local club? That's success. That's growing the sport from the ground up, not investing in the top level rugby, but going, no, the way we grow a sport, the way you grow a talent pool 101, you invest in grassroots and everything comes up. The school kids playing touch for the first time on the hockey field, all the supporters around the ground. Me and my partner were walking around in the Mixed Open game. You couldn't find a seat. There was not a spare blade of grass on pitch one. That's the success. The drumming from the Cook Islands, the atmosphere.
His entire life. Wonderful once more to see him get involved here with another World Cup. And that brings me to the point of Federation of International Touch. England Touch, they've done a wonderful job working with the University of Nottingham here to host us, but without the Federation of International Touch, there is no international game. They bring us all together. They organise these World Cups. So a massive hats off, a huge thank you to Peter Top, Bill Kerr, and the entire support staff all the way through down to the grassroots level. It's been a wonderfully run tournament, and the biggest, officially the biggest, 70% more so than Malaysia in 2019, the biggest World Cup ever, and the best.
It just blows my mind. And Bill Kerr, he's sort of known informally, and I'm not sure if he'll like me saying this, he's known informally in the UK as the godfather of touch. He's sort of the cultivator, the facilitator, also the face of touch for a lot of people. And you might not know that because he operates mainly behind the scenes, but Federation of International Touch, I mean, this should really stand out. This should be that gold standard of what we can achieve when the Federation of International Touch and other touch associations from all around the globe come together to achieve a common goal of putting on what is the biggest, the best, and the most successful Touch World Cup in history. And it really does lay down a marker of can we grow even more? Can we keep going? Can we expand on this? I mean, it feels a little bit, I don't want to say gluttonous, because I don't want to be greedy, but this has been put together on a bit of a shoestring budget. People have banded together. There's volunteer staff. This isn't a professional sport. This doesn't have the benefit of a ridiculous amount of funding. It benefits a lot from sponsorships, yes, but people sacrifice their time, their lives to put this on for people. Can we go one better?
Well, that's the big question here, of course, because we know that rugby union, rugby league, there's a professional pathway. We saw it momentarily in Australia with the NRL Touch. Teams like the West Tigers, Brisbane Broncos fielding teams for touch football, but it is about the next level. That's probably the logical next step here from an expert point of view. And we're just so excited about what this sport does hold. Just before we head down to Wilf, I'd also like to give a huge shout out here to the team, the production crew at Next Gen. It's been outstanding on this main field here for finals day. We've been running with 6 cameras. So outstanding work from all the camera operators, our producers behind the scenes, and led by a formidable team of Chris Weirmouth and Richard Jackson. Thank you very much for your involvement. Wilf, down to you.
Well, I am down here as Lebanon are through the crowd here for their medals. It's important to point out the success of each and every one of them. I am going to grab Chris Simon, but he's taken it upon himself, as of course the chairman of English Touch Association and organiser of the event, to shake hands with every single medal winner here at the Touch Rugby World Cup. I'm getting in amongst it as well, but well, a great success for Lebanon. And indeed, I do have Chris Simon with me. Chris, I just wanted to touch upon, because I'm not sure the people here will realise the full extent of what you've managed to accomplish here. There must be an overwhelming sense of relief after, with no other words available, absolutely nailing this World Cup.
Yeah, a sense of relief. I guess there's also sort of that the emulation of coming off that high, and at the moment, yeah, I guess it's difficult to take in. It's been huge the whole week, and it's gone really quickly. These last 3 days it's just absolutely flown by. So yeah, really pleased, really proud. The team has been amazing. Everybody has gelled together, and you wouldn't know there's anything wrong with it behind the scenes. I think front of house has been really good, and we're really pleased.
Well, Ben touched on in our post-match as well how much this means for Nottingham Touch and the growth of the sport, but how much does this World Cup mean to England Touch? Not only the first bronze medals in the open category that they've won, but also the future of the game in this country. What does this World Cup do?
I think inspired a lot of people on and off the field. We've had a lot of people down here trying the sport for the first time with schools, just coming and watching the sport for the first time. And you can hear now the emulation of people just enjoying themselves. It's been great for the whole sport of touch globally, definitely in England and in Nottingham, and I think we'll see a lot more people playing.
And we're not even at the end of the celebrations of the current World Cup, of course, but the next question is, what's next for the ETA and for English touch as a whole?
I think we'll come up for air, to be fair. I think we're in 4 weeks' time. I'll say not much air. 4 weeks' time, we're off to France for the European Juniors, taking a strong contingent of 6 teams over there. We've then got our domestic finals, and then we've got our junior nationals, all back-to-back weekends in August and September. Then we'll definitely come up for a pause. We'll look at the programme, review our programme, and start to plan how we can go one better in New Zealand and really try and challenge the best in the world, even more than we have done with this record-breaking World Cup this time around.
And I know we're all already looking forward to it. Thank you so much for speaking with us. I'll leave you to your chairman duties as well for the rest of the presentations. I mean, what a huge World Cup it has been, and we'll be bringing you live those junior nationals in a couple of weeks' time as well. So there's more touch rugby for you live streamed across the nation as the Next Gen continues its coverage. Now I'll hand you back over to the commentators who can talk you through the rest of the medal gifting and awarding. What a moment for all these players.
Well, thank you very much. A very proud moment there for Lebanon. I actually had the honour of hosting the Lebanon fundraiser as they were trying to raise the required funds to come over and compete here. And whilst a lot was raised, it's what we talk about, Joe, where it's not a professional sport at this level. They still have to dig into their own pockets. That's how much it means to them. And I was watching the Lebanon bronze playoff game against the Cook Islands, and they were in tears when they won that. It was one of the great stories of the tournament. Incredibly proud team, as we're now seeing New Zealand come out here with Ifor Jones collecting his MVP award for player of the match there in that gold medal final for the World Cup. But you know, it's just wonderful scenes here across multiple different countries. And of course, the next step now, as we look ahead to 2028, we'll hear more from Peter Top, but heading back to the Southern Hemisphere. And the big goal, I suppose, for every team that performed in this World Cup is, 1, to make it for the next one, and 2, to improve on the results they've got here in 2024.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, for me, the 2 teams that would definitely take the results they've got this year, but were definitely gearing up for 2028, is Lebanon and the Cook Islands. 2 emerging nations, 2 nations with no real international touch experience, very rarely play any sort of international game, such as their isolation geographically. And for me, those are the 2 that I really want to see in that 2028 World Cup. And as you say, each team will be looking to do better, qualify, get there even. The logistics of travelling halfway across the globe for some of these nations is an absolute nightmare, and it's a bigger man than me who could do that job, I'll tell you that one for free. But 2028 has something really to live up for, because this tournament's not only been special for the quality of touch on the field, but just the sense of passion around Highfields and Riverside, 2 locations this week. Let's not forget, we weren't just here, we were over at Riverside as well, then coming back here for the Friday, Saturday, Sunday with the overs categories joining all the opens as well. It's truly special, and 2028 can learn a lot from this 2024 World Cup. It can learn where the highs were, where some of the logistics started to get muddled up here and there. There's always learning opportunities, and I mean, it feels greedy to already be thinking about the next World Cup after witnessing such a spectacle of touch over this past week, and to be able to call so many games over the past week is just, it's a fever dream. Like, pinch me. I can't quite believe that I've been here to watch something so special.
Let's talk about the volume of games here. So around 900 played in total, more than 200 were covered. So if you're wondering why myself, maybe not so much Joe, you still sound pretty fresh to my ears, but myself, Wilf and Adam might be sounding a little bit hoarse. We've each done at least 40 as a lead caller, and I can't tell you the amount of quality I've seen consistent across the board. There's been a few results that have been somewhat lopsided, but play-by-play individual efforts, even with those big lopsided scores, the players have given their all. And so from our perspective here in the booth as well, we try to give our all. It might be the only time they hear their name called. Maybe they're not back for another World Cup tournament. Maybe they've never been covered at all before. So each and every story is an important one. And of course, as we see the Aussies here with their coaching staff come out for Phil Guymore and the rest of the men's open team, the big story for this World Cup is once more dominance from Australia. And the question needs to be posed: what do the other nations need to do to try and stop this run?
Well, New Zealand do have a home World Cup, right? So there we go. That's automatically a boost. And there, for me, by far and away, the team that is the closer to the Emus. And I feel like, when we've been saying it all week, someone's got to have that game of touch, that 40 minutes. You need a little bit of luck as well. Let's not forget that, because this Australian side, and by far and away, let's not just talk about the people in this Australian team. The infrastructure in Australia for touch rugby far surpasses anything in the rest of the world, and they benefit from it. They are one of the most electric systems of youth come flooding through the ranks. I think they could have fielded an Australian B team in the men's open that probably would have competed just as well. I mean, dare I say, if not better on occasion. But, you know, for the growth of sport, New Zealand are the ones that are really leading that charge towards Australia. They're growing the sport in the nation. And I know there's a lot of other teams that would look to follow suit, namely Lebanon.
Lebanon with not the biggest contingent of teams across the board, of course 13 different categories, but featured very strongly in both the men's and the mixed opens, making the finals there. The women's, a little bit of a way to go, but there are some promising signs as we're now seeing Australia crowned champions overall for the seniors divisions, of which I believe there's about 10 of them. So there's a lot of strong performances here across the board from Australia. They started yesterday with a perfect 3 from 3 with the men's 55s, 50s and 45s. So an outstanding campaign, so many great contributors, big names involved as well in the seniors. You look at the coaching ranks, for example, Carly Banks, so well renowned. I'm going to embarrass her a little bit here. I caught up with her early in the week, and her assistant coach, Maddie, was ribbing her a little bit, saying if I had £5 for every time someone from another, one of the greatest of all time. And Kim Susi, a very proud woman, one of the greatest of all time. And Kim Susi, a very proud woman, holding that cup in the middle there. Tim Bart's led his side admirably as well. We're just about wrapped up here for the 2024 World Cup. We don't really want it to end. It's been outstanding. There's Peter Top in the middle of the screen there. He's the chairman of Federation of International Touch. Very much the mastermind behind this outstanding tournament. And we're about to find out the Rising Nation Award, and it goes to the home country, England. Recipients of the Rising Nation Award. They have, of course, snagged their first ever bronze medal in the Opens category.
Running down the top 4 nations in this year's Touch World Cup.
And it's been a wonderful campaign.
South Africa.
And South Africa also claiming an award here.
In second is New Zealand. And receiving the trophy from Federation of International Touch Chair, Peter Block. The world champion nation is Australia.
And there it is, no surprises here for Australia. They are ranked number 1 in the world, having claimed the Seniors Cup, the Opens Cup, and now the overall World Cup is for Australia. South Africa, though, doing a great job pushing up into the top 5, for example. So this is another one of those stories we're talking about, Joe.
Yeah, and South Africa, again, another nation that's really invested in touch. I've got a lot of friends from South Africa, and I was talking to Lawrence, and he was telling me that his nieces, nephews are all playing touch. All the teams in South Africa on the off season are going, go play touch, go hone your skills, keep them fresh, develop the hands, develop the footwork. So South Africa is a nation benefiting from that investment of time and effort into the sport of touch. And I mean, I think they would have bitten your hand off to break the top 5 if you told them that on Monday.
So all the Aussies now piling in to celebrate the overall World Cup here. They'll lift it high and proud. It's heading back down to the land down under.
Thanks, Chris. I'm going to try and keep this quite quick, but just a few things. Firstly, thank you to the Federation not only entrusting us with this event to organise this World Cup, but also in their support behind the scenes. It's been a real privilege for almost everyone. Massive thanks to our hosts, Nottingham venues and Nottingham Hockey Centre, and their amazing team of staff. They've been working tirelessly to welcome us. Our sponsors, particularly the ones that Chris mentioned here, Pura, Mappe, IMEX, all of our event partners behind the scenes. All of you, our customers, 39 nations, really, really great work. And to our team referees. But my most important thank you is going to be to the event team and staff very well. All of those in there have not been too Wales so well, but all of those in there have done a tremendous job this week.
There she is.
We did not know how to fulfill these results.
There she is.
So please, just put your hands together for everybody down there, and the fabulous team.
Hi. Do you not want to go again?
So just echoing those sentiments there.
You've got a record to World Cup for all of you. And the umbrella that hopes you will not need a while. So for these 10 people wearing the SB shirt here, Lisa Household.
In the men's 45s in the knockout stages, it's about Oman's first World Cup and the fact that their chairman of rugby was here supporting the team as it looks to grow. It's about Lebanese TV picking up all their touch games throughout the tournament. It's about all of the individual nations getting their chance to shine at a World Cup, and I think that's what makes this so special. Such an unbelievable event, such a large-scale event, something that hopefully will be mirrored in the years to come as touch continues to grow.
Well, as somebody who's been travelling around the world for touch football events, this one has certainly taken the cake. We've enjoyed bringing you all of the action here from Nottingham, but it's handed over now. The World Cup is on its way to New Zealand, and in 4 years' time, the world converges on New Zealand, the land of the long white cloud, Aotearoa, and we look forward to bringing you all of the action there. We hope you've enjoyed this coverage. We've certainly enjoyed bringing it to you, but from the Federation of International Touch and my co-commentary team, it's bye for now.
and I'm representing the Hydex programme, which is one of the sponsors of the Touch Rugby World Cup. Hydex is a collaboration of a number of universities based in the Midlands, including the University of Nottingham. One of Hydex's main aims is to support industry to innovate, developing new products and services in the hydrogen economy. We decided to sponsor the Touch Rugby World Cup, particularly in relation to energy use, so that Geopura, a locally based business, can provide hydrogen to be utilised at the event, making the event more sustainable and improving air quality for visitors and competitors alike. We hope this support will encourage others to look for more sustainable ways to run similar events in the future. Finally, just to say, we hope everyone that's involved in the event has a great time. Thank you.
I love Nottingham, the home of Robin Hood. From the bright lights of Goose Fair to the peaceful nature of the Sherwood Forest woods. There's a feeling of togetherness, unity, pure, honest, love. And that feels great like a bright summer's day at the horses down by the lake at Collick Hall. I love Nottingham. The River Trent, the embankment, the Nottingham Carnival, different cultures dancing. The diversity, just walking down Columbus Street on a Saturday. The two lions in the square stand tall with pride. And when the markets in town come alive, it gives me life. Listen, as the council house clock chimes, and depending on how many times, lets you know the time. I've been to concerts at the Motorpoint Arena, and I've been to concerts at the Nottingham Caves. I've been here all my life and I'm still amazed by this place. I love Nottingham. Sometimes I stare at Hockley's graffiti colourful walls, and sometimes I gaze at the deers running round Woollerton Hall. Supreme thrills, from chilling up at Green's Mill or up at that castle on the hill. Nottingham, I love you, and I always will.
Visit Nottingham today.
So we're here at Hillhead Sports Club, the third year of our annual Pride in Touch tournament. We have 16 teams, over 200 players. We've got about a dozen or so referees. We've had also a whole heap of volunteers. It's been brilliant to come to Glasgow after previous versions in Manchester and London, and it's ended up being our biggest tournament to date.
Get a lot of curious players that want to try out touch rugby for the first time, so they might be a bit nervous, but I think they come down, they hear the tunes that are playing, they see all the rainbows, all the smiling faces, and I think they realise that actually they can just have a good time. Our ambition is to make touch rugby one of the most inclusive sports there is. We want it to be super accessible to anyone. We don't want there to be many barriers or any barriers to picking up the game for the LGBT community.
What's been amazing over just the 3 or so years that we've been running Pride in Touch has been the interest and the growth and the opportunity we've had to platform good practice from people across the world that are wanting to do more LGBTQ+ inclusive initiatives. Now more than ever, we certainly feel it's really important to make sure that we amplify the voices of inclusion, show people that team sport can be really good for their mental well-being and their physical well-being, and hopefully we've got plenty of those people who have felt like that through enjoying our tournament today.